Hey everybody, hey all you fans of Chase, thank you all for your subscriptions, all your loves, all your likes, all your praise. Your joy and affection for my son is so greatly appreciated, and you're going to be rewarded by a lot more upcoming footage. We got him coming up this weekend, but the title of this video says it all. Let me answer some of your questions that keep coming up. Where do I even start? Chase is 18 years old now. He's a senior in high school. He goes to a special high school on the south side of Chicago. It's mainstream in one aspect, but then it's special needs in another. It's a private school, but it's funded through Chicago public school system. All the kids in his classroom are autistic or some sort of special needs. Mostly autistic, Asperger's, maybe some Downs in there as well. On the topic of Chase and his schooling, he was diagnosed at about 1.5 or 18 months. Right away, his mother was a special ed teacher and noticed him acting strangely. His behaviors were not typical of his age. He was not meeting his milestones. His eyesight was off. His eating just flipped out. He just stopped eating. Constipation hit in, head banging, flapping. You name it. He had all the symptoms of autism. The first 2 pediatricians we visited said that he was fine, that he was a late bloomer, and that he'll grow out of it. Another pediatrician said he had an ear infection. All of his autism symptoms appeared within the same month that he had his MMR. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying his measles, mumps, rubella vaccination caused his autism. I'm simply stating that all of the symptoms, and we have it documented actually with video and photos, it all occurred right after his MMR. So maybe he had an allergic reaction. Maybe he was predisposed. I don't think it's genetic. There's nobody in my family or anyone's extended family, in my brethren, of anyone on the genetic family tree anywhere that has autism or mental disorders for that matter. So eventually he ended up at a pediatric neurologist, pediatric psychiatrist, psychologist, eventually diagnosed him as PPD, pervasive developmental disorder, PDD. They wouldn't even label him autistic or with autism until he got a little older. And each time we had him evaluated, I paid about $3,000 to have him properly evaluated. Those evaluations were critical because we could then later on sue the school districts to make sure that he received a proper and a specific individualized school program, individualized education program, IEP I think it's called, specific to his needs, which are his rights within the school system to receive a free and proper education, whether you're a normal person learning or you're a learning disabled person. So before I get to the due process part of this vlog, we began right away at age 2 having ABA therapists in the home at hundreds of dollars per week. ABA stands for Applied Behavior Analysis. ABA therapy, Applied Behavior Analysis, essentially using photos to force Chase to use words to identify those photos. A pig, a dog, a picture of mom, a picture of dad, to try and force him to identify those objects by using verbal language. Now keep in mind, his functional language didn't appear until 9 or 10, where he would actually answer questions. He would never answer questions until he got to that age of 9 or 10. He would just repeat it. So if you said to him, "What's your name?" he would say, "What's your name?" If you said, "Chase, do you want to go outside and play?" he would say, "Chase, do you want to go outside and play?" Echoing, stimming, repetitive, verbal, blah, blah, blah. The ABA therapy seemed to help him. He fought it. He would cry. that eventually ended up in privatized, private autism schools that he was sent to at age like 4, 5, and 6, which he paid out of pocket. Suing the school districts on 2 different occasions to get him a more individualized program specific to his needs. Sue the school districts to get him an aide that would be with him all day at school. So we were very active. When I say we, me and his mother. His mother was very, very proactive, and still is to this day. Being that was her specialty in the first place, being a special ed teacher. She was a special ed teacher, just as my mom was, and I was very receptive immediately that I agreed that his behaviors were very strange and nothing like that of his sister, who was born a year before him. They're a year apart. She's completely normal. As he got into ages 5, 6, 7, and 8, the schooling seemed to help him become more socialized. The older he got, the less he stimmed, the less he flapped his hands, the less strange, repetitive behaviors he had. Now, he's always wanted to be isolated. He prefers just to close the door and be alone at many parts of his day. He hates loud noises. He still has all the signs of autism to this day. But that early on ABA therapy, that early on intervention made all the world of difference. And one of the main points I want to make about this video, and perhaps I'll talk about in future videos, is for you parents out there listening to this and watching this video, I don't want you to form any opinion, good or bad, of how your son or daughter is going to turn out when he or she is 16, 17, or 18 like Chase. There is no promise. There is no guarantee. All we could do is hope and pray that our children will eventually speak and use functional language. They are as smart as you and I promise you that. They're just as intelligent. They just don't have that ability in their brain for output. All the input works fine. I promise you. Chase learns just as quick as you and I. He just can't let us know everything verbally. He can read and write. But getting back to my point here, and I'm going to end this 10-minute rant, I don't know how your children are going to turn out. All you could do is be aggressive in the early stages. Consider this your opportunity to invest in them hopefully speaking. Now, if they have Asperger's syndrome, I promise you they're going to speak. They're going to speak a lot. Chase has always been, to me and to his mother and to others, kind of that medium of autism functioning. He's not on the low functioning end. He's certainly not on the high functioning end. He's kind of on the medium. But with that said, his verbal abilities seem to be improving these ages 15, 16, 17, and 18. And I guess you can attribute it to all that early ABA therapy, all that private schooling and private tutoring that he received. So that's the best advice I could give you, parents, for your son or daughter that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and you're struggling or whatever it may be. Be patient, be proactive, be accepting. I know you're already being loving, so I won't say that. And be hopeful. For me personally, I really eventually just took things day by day. I didn't think too much about the future. It was just too scary to think about it. And right now, I don't sit around thinking about Chase's future. when he's in his 20s, 30s, and 40s. I don't think it's a healthy thing to do as a parent. Do your best day by day with your son or daughter, and leave it at that. There you go. Hope all that information was helpful. I'm only doing this in the car because I've been thinking about everything I just said for about 3 or 4 days now, and I wanted to just get it out while it's top of mind. So if you learned something, please like, please share, please enjoy, and please watch all the other This is Autism video series. Click the playlist. Please enjoy, please subscribe, and more than anything, I know you're learning from these videos and you're getting a perspective on a teenage boy with autism, which was my whole goal from the very beginning of this series, to fill a void on YouTube that I saw of boys with autism in their teen years. I just didn't see enough of them. That's why I recorded the first video, Conversations with Dad, and the other ones. I wanted to fill that void. And it's working. Come on,